He was admired by allies and enemies alike. A brilliant tactician, a fearless commander, and one of the most respected German generals of World War II. But beneath the legend of the Desert Fox lies a question that continues to divide historians to this day. Was Erwin Rommel, a man many saw as honourable, really a Nazi? Or was he something else entirely? A soldier trapped in the wrong war, serving the wrong cause? This is the story of Erwin Rommel and the truth behind the myth. Erwin Rommel was born in 1891 in Heidenheim in the Kingdom of Württemberg, then part of the German Empire. He wasn't born into a military dynasty. In fact, his father was a school teacher, but Rommel showed early signs of brilliance, both in academics and leadership. He joined the German army in 1910, and by the First World War, he was already making a name for himself. Serving in France, Romania, and Italy, Rommel gained a reputation for boldness and tactical innovation. He earned the Pour le Mérite, Imperial Germany's highest honour, during the Battle of Caporetto, leading just a few hundred men to capture thousands of Italian soldiers. After World War I, he stayed in the reduced Reichswehr and spent the interwar years teaching and writing. His book, Infantry Attacks, published in 1937, caught the eye of one very important reader, Adolf Hitler. Rommel was no ordinary officer. Unlike many of his aristocratic peers, he rose through merit, not connections. Hitler admired this. By the outbreak of World War II, Rommel had become a favourite of the Führer. In 1940, during the invasion of France, Rommel commanded the 7th Panzer Division, nicknamed the Ghost Division for its rapid, elusive advances. But it was in North Africa, starting in 1941, where Rommel's legend was truly born. As commander of the Africa Corps, he turned a struggling Italian front into a dynamic, fast-moving campaign that shook the British Empire. His leadership at battles like Gazala and Tobruk won him not just German praise, but British admiration. Even Churchill remarked, "We have a very daring and skillful opponent against us, and may I say across the havoc of war, a great general." So, a brilliant tactician, a chivalrous adversary. But still, a general in Hitler's army. Was he a Nazi? To answer that, we must understand what being a Nazi really meant. Was Rommel a card-carrying member of the Nazi Party? No, he never joined the NSDAP. He was also not known to express anti-Semitic views or promote Nazi ideology. In fact, there is no record of Rommel participating in war crimes, and he reportedly treated prisoners and civilians humanely, especially by Wehrmacht standards. But he wasn't apolitical either. Rommel was an early supporter of Hitler, not because of ideology, but because he believed Hitler had restored German pride. He accepted a high command in the Third Reich. He used Nazi propaganda to bolster morale and reputation. And he worked closely with Hitler in the early years of the war. When asked about atrocities or political repression, Rommel often claimed ignorance. Whether he was genuinely unaware or deliberately looked the other way is still debated. But by 1943, after defeats in North Africa and the growing horror of the Eastern Front, something in Rommel began to change. Following his return from Africa, Rommel was given a new assignment, preparing for the Allied invasion of Western Europe. As commander of Army Group B, he was in charge of defending the Atlantic Wall in France. But privately, Rommel was growing disillusioned. The destruction he saw, the reports of atrocities, and Hitler's unwillingness to face reality disturbed him. In 1944, Rommel began to speak openly, though carefully, about the futility of continuing the war. He advocated negotiating with the Western Allies and even criticized Hitler's leadership in private. This brought him into the orbit of a dangerous group, the German resistance. On July 20th, 1944, German officers attempted to assassinate Hitler with a bomb at his Eastern Front headquarters. The plot failed. In the aftermath, the Gestapo unleashed a brutal crackdown. Hundreds were arrested, tortured, and executed. Rommel was implicated, not as a direct conspirator, but as a sympathizer. He had been approached by resistance leaders. Though he refused to support Hitler's murder, he made clear that the war must end and the Führer must go. To Hitler, that was enough. But Rommel was a national hero. Publicly executing him could demoralize the army. So, Rommel was given a choice: stand trial for treason, or take his own life in exchange for protecting his family. On October 14, 1944, Erwin Rommel swallowed a cyanide capsule in his home. The Nazi regime announced he had died of wounds from an air raid. He was buried with full military honors. He was not a party member. He was not an ideologue. He did not participate in genocide. And, in the end, he distanced himself from Hitler's leadership and paid the ultimate price. But he was a general in Hitler's war. He supported the regime in its early triumphs. He benefited from Nazi propaganda. And he served a cause that brought devastation across Europe. Rommel was a soldier, a patriot, a tactician, perhaps even a man of conscience. But he was also a man of his time, flawed, ambitious, and caught in a system he only came to question when it was nearly too late. In the end, Erwin Rommel was not a Nazi, but he was no saint. He was something far more human, a man caught between duty, honor, and history. If you found this story compelling, subscribe for more deep dives into the lives of the Second World War's most complex figures. Leave a comment. Do you think Rommel deserves his reputation? Thanks for watching.